tonight. Ancient towers crumble, but secrets remain. Stories of Tartaria lost in the rain. False flags waving, a shadow parade. Digging for answers they want to evade. Picture perfect on the news, but I see the lines. Never take the story straight, I read between signs. Tinfoil hat on, I see through the plot. Hidden signs, clues they thought I forgot. Maps upside down, no ground to the sky. Truth on my mind while the world asks why. Oh, chasing what they hide. Tonight.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to my channel. I thought I'd bring some more information your way as I've been digging into these files since the first episode. There's a couple of urgent bits of information that I did want to share with people, just to make sure that you're safe when you're actually accessing the files. Now, it's come to my attention a few people that have asked me, how do we get the files? A lot of people have watched the first show, so I just want to tell you how to do that safely. But firstly, I just wanted to say thank you for the love and support we got on the first episode. I didn't expect to see such nice reactions in the comments and people that have personally contacted me. So thank you so much. I appreciate all of you for just tuning in and, you know, giving it a little watch. If you could just like, subscribe, and maybe give it a share at some point as well. I appreciate if we can reach a bigger audience. Now, obviously, this topic is hot topic. It's the top 10 trending topic on social media right now. So there's lots of information coming left, right, and center. I haven't got to the point where I want to share information on the screens. I'm not quite sure how safe it is, especially with a lot of the photos that I've seen in the files. As I mentioned before, there's 3 million files and a lot of them are videos, pictures, things of this nature. I'll talk about these in a slightly later episode, but maybe I can bring them to the screen to show you. They are being redacted, but one thing I've noticed is the files are being updated regularly. So some things are available now that might not be available in the future. So it is a good idea, if you are interested in seeing these files yourself, to actually get these downloaded on your computer, on your hard drive, on the pretext, hopefully it doesn't blow up, and do it safely so you actually have a record of these in case they do get deleted in the future. Now, I wanted just to sort of let you know how to get the files. There's lots of spam websites that are coming up. There's people that have taken advantage of this opportunity to make out they're the source of the files. Now, people are having problems downloading files. It's unfortunately downloading malware onto their computer, you know, Trojans, all sorts of types of viruses attached to these files. You just don't know what you're downloading. So I wanted just firstly just to let you know how to get these files safely and where to get them from. Now, it's the Department of Justice that have actually released these files. A lot of people outside the US probably don't know, but the Department of Justice actually have got these files on their justice.gov website. It's /Epstein. That's how you get to the files. Now, the process is it'll bring you to a page where it's got a Dropbox. It's DOJ disclosures and first phase Epstein's the Epstein Transparency Act files. Now, what you need to do is you need to actually click on the data set and download it, and it goes into a zip file onto your hard drive, and then you unzip and extract all the documents. Now, as I said, unfortunately, they haven't done it in a way where you can just download all of the documents. It's behind a panel, which is on the justice.gov website. It will probably log your IP address. So maybe I suggest if you've got a VPN of some sort or something of this nature, that would probably be a safe way, but I can't imagine that'll make too much of a difference. Based on some of the information we're finding in these files, yeah, I don't think it's going to help too much. But I wanted just to sort of bring that to everyone's attention, first of all, and let you know how to safely get these files on your computer before potentially they go missing at some point. There's a lot of people that have got a lot of stuff to answer for. One of the things I wanted to cover in this episode very, very quickly, I'm building my whiteboard out of culprits on these lists. As I mentioned in the first episode, there's lots of high profile names that are being mentioned on nearly every single page. But one thing I wanted sort of just to quickly, briefly cover on this particular episode is what's been happening with cryptocurrencies. Now, something that's coming up a lot here is Jeffrey Epstein's interest in finance and cryptocurrencies. A lot of people would probably be aware he, is a very wealthy man and, would have been the center point to a lot of the financial world. There's connections to, some very wealthy families and wealthy people that I've come across. But one thing I wanted to sort of bring to people's attention is there's rumors based off of these files that he potentially, is the creator of Bitcoin. Now, I don't think I'd give him that much of an intelligent referral to think that he could be, the potential creator of Bitcoin. But it does look like he has got some very early fingers in pies earlier on. Now, one of the first emails I found from October the 31st in 2008 is a correspondence between Jeffrey Epstein this is his jepstein@financial.net email, slightly different to the jeevacation@gmail.com we was looking at the other day, to him and Ghislaine Maxwell at her Terra Mar project email, which is gmaxwell@terramar.org. This is quite an interesting one I found, and it says, hi, Ghislaine, the Satoshi pseudonym is working perfectly. Our little digital gold mine is ready for the world. Funding secured. Regards, Jeffrey. This is in 2008. So this would have been long before any of us would have been involved in any of the cryptocurrency world. And I think that's a good starting point to kind of just emphasize how this guy has been involved with this from a very early age and not to take anything off the table. He obviously works closely with MIT. We mentioned briefly, I think, in the previous episode, his relationship with MIT. It has been documented that he actually was an investor in MIT Digital Currency Investment Scheme. Now, this is their initiative program to research and develop the cryptocurrency sphere. And he was a very early investor. There's documents and receipts to prove that. Also, Blockstream. So he has been a big part of this from the very beginning. One of the things that I did come across as well, which I thought was quite interesting, is he actually was an investor in Coinbase. Now, Coinbase is one of the biggest exchanges in the world. He was actually an investor in it from about 2014. Again, this is all documented in his files. And he purchased a lot of position at a $400 million valuation. He got the shares via Brock Pierce. Now, I think he was the CEO of Tether, or he was, one of the higher profile early developers of Tether and Blockchain Capital. They sold him half the shares, and emails show that Fred Ersham, who's also again involved in the project, he also was aware that these were being purchased on behalf of Jeffrey Epstein. So we're seeing that Jeffrey Epstein is involved with the core development of Bitcoin. We're seeing that Jeffrey Epstein is involved with the early exchanges. And we're also seeing the connections between MIT and Jeffrey Epstein. Now, a lot of you may be aware, the previous SEC chairman was Gary Gensler. Gary Gensler was not a particular popular SEC chairman, as you may be aware, but he brought a lot of cases against crypto companies. In particular, you might be familiar with one of the longer lasting ones, which only just finished last year with Ripple. Now, he, again, would have had close ties with Jeffrey Epstein. I'm trying to find his name in the files, but I've yet to find it yet. But just the connection from MIT, there's obviously Gary Gensler was a professor and teacher before he took the SEC job at MIT. So there's lots and lots of interesting connections between these people. But I wanted to just highlight a few of these things in regards to the cryptocurrency sphere. There's lots of other documents that are coming out that, I'll bring in a later episode, but just wanted to answer a few questions because that was something someone asked me the other day. Now, one of the other things that I think a lot of people ask about these files is Jeffrey Epstein alive? Now, I'm sure a lot of people have got their opinions, yes or no, based on what a news reporter would have told us a few years ago. But there is quite damning evidence in these files that Jeffrey Epstein is still alive. Now, I'll tell you for why. There is a report from the FBI who tracked down a poster from 4chan. He was an anonymous poster, and he has been confirmed as working in the correctional facility, which was holding Epstein in August 2019. he actually come out and in his anonymous post on 4chan, he said that a van turned up in the middle of the night, and after the 4:15 a.m. checks, they moved Jeffrey Epstein out of the prison. You know, this is quite a very controversial statement. They're saying that the van that turned up was involved with the military and the plates were not logged, which is against protocol for moving prisoners. Without a jury signing off on the removal of a prisoner or moving them around, you know, it doesn't happen. Someone that myself, who's been involved in the prison service in a previous life, I know there's a very strict protocol for moving people, especially high profile people, and he definitely wouldn't be doing it in the middle of the night. So this person has been sourced by the FBI. They found him by his IP address. They tracked him down and they've asked him to, you know, explain what it is that he saw. They've documented it in the files and also done a credit check and a check on his employee status on that particular day. And it's confirmed in the FBI files that Jeffrey Epstein was in the prison which he worked in. He was an employee of that prison and he was actually working on that particular day. So this anonymous person who's posted on 4chan probably regrets doing that, but he would have been interrogated quite hardly by the FBI. And his claim is that Jeffrey Epstein was moved out of prison and they switched him out of the cell. So again, it's quite fascinating that this information is there, readily available for anybody to read. And I definitely would suggest people, you know, having a little look into these claims. Most of the report is backed up by the FBI investigation that follows behind it. But I know, you know, when a lot of people talk about the Epstein situation and the case, one of the things they seem to always ask is he alive? That seems to be the hot topic. Is he alive? Is he not alive? Personally, I would think so. In my opinion, I've always said it from the beginning on the show that we do with Rabbit Hole Ramblings. I've mentioned it a few times. I think that he probably is alive. He's a very well-connected person, which brings me on to my next subject. He is very well connected with the Rothschilds. I mentioned on my first episode that there is evidence between him and Peter Thiel's communications that he actually represents the Rothschilds. As I've dug further into the files, there is more evidence of this being the case. Now, there is a document from October the 5th, 2015, which is between the holding companies that Jeffrey Epstein held, which was Southern Trust Company, Inc., or also known as referred to as STC, and Ariana de Rothschild on behalf of Edmund de Rothschild Holdings, or also known as Rothschild's Group. There is a consultancy contract confirmation between the two parties for the receipt of $25 million to Jeffrey Epstein. This is in 2015 after he would have been a convicted paedophile. So there's lots of information that actually prove that these two are corresponding. And also, I've also uncovered something quite interesting going back a little bit further. March 2014, that the Rothschild, Ariana Rothschild, had been communicating with Jeffrey Epstein about the Ukraine. Now, in the Ukraine email, which was the 18th of March 2014, the creator of the email, which alleges to be Ariana de Rothschild, says, "Hi Jeff, very long day sitting around board bank, and we're okay, but not satisfactory for me. And I'm putting them all under pressure to be more innovative about the funds under management while we're restructuring. I'm having a dinner with a client and I'm fed up. I miss our talks and hope you're well. We'll be at home tomorrow night. Will you be free? And let's discuss Ukraine." And the reply is, Ukraine upheaval should provide us many opportunities. So just to remind you, the date there is 2014. So there seems to be a conspiracy in behind what these people have been doing, who's been conducting and putting strings about certain situations and the reasons why. But I just wanted to bring you a little video just to sort of, again, get my fingers in the pie, update you on what I'm finding. I'm not even 100,000 files into this yet. I'm somewhere close to maybe 60,000 files. As I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, you do have to go in and individually pick these files out. So be careful that your computers don't blow up, and make sure that you are downloading them safely. Don't download them from some strange, weird third party, because there is a high possibility that the profile will actually invest your computer with trackers, malware, and things of this nature. And we don't want that. we definitely don't need to be going on some whiteboard somewhere. We're just looking into public information. So please remember, and at the beginning of this episode, I told you how to download them safely from justice.gov/Epstein and follow the links. But if I could just say thank you for today. I'm looking forward to bringing more information to you as I get through it. I'm looking into lots of information. The things that are actually quite scary are the photos. These are quite damning photos. Some of the photos that I've seen already and uncovered, just to name a few, is Prince Andrew on all fours over some young girl. I know that when he was questioned about the photo that he had with an alleged victim, and Maxwell was behind him in a photo in England many years ago, he denied that photo. He claimed that photo was photoshopped and he doesn't have any recollection of that particular event. This tranche of photos include him, and he looks very devilish, and he seems to be taking advantage of a young female, shall we say. Also, there seems to be a lot of photos of Jeffrey Epstein interacting with minors. Again, this is very difficult to sort of go through. It's very difficult to watch and see, but you know, sometimes you need to see to believe. And yeah, they have redacted any private parts or anything super sensitive, but I'm moving my way onto the next tranche of photos, which have taken about 6 million years to download, and also started to download some of the videos. People have told me that there's snuff films in there, large amounts of pornography that's not redacted. And yeah, I look forward to seeing potentially what some of this is. I'll try and keep it relatively clean as it's a new channel. I want to make sure that I'm not getting in trouble too early. But as any of you that know me from anywhere else, you'll know that it's no holds barred around here. And, you know, I want to make sure that, you know, we're as transparent and bringing the truth out, because ultimately that's why I want to do this. So, as I said, thank you so much for everybody that, you know, tunes in and has a little watch on the show. Hopefully I can bring you some information. And as we go along, like I say, I'm going to try and bring some PDFs, bring some actual documents for you to see. I'm just going to transfer a bunch of stuff onto, you know, a PDF file for myself, no pun intended. And I'll look forward to hopefully sort of bringing it as a spreadsheet to sort of roll through some of this stuff. I've tried to include the dates and the times of these emails. Maybe I should actually include the file numbers, but you know, at this particular moment in time, I don't think that's of great interest. Just wanted to sort of bring you up to speed with where we are. So, you know, we're looking to get to 100,000 files, hopefully by the weekend, and only another 2.9 million to go. Crazy. Also, as well, I don't know if a lot of you realize, but there is actually quite a lot of files that are still missing. There's actually 6.4 million files. We've been given the opportunity to look through 3 million, and they're not very pleasant. So I dread to think what will be through the last lot if we ever get to see them, which I don't think we will somehow. They're probably cherry picked out the worst ones and, you know, give us something to have a little, you know, gander over in the meantime. But there's lots of information, more files I'm building. I've found Elon's name again. I found a lot more powerful people's name, but that isn't the purpose of this particular video. I'm compiling actual individual files on each of them. And what I'll do at some point in the future is I'll actually do videos individually on each of the people and their alleged participation and crimes in the files. But is Jeffrey alive? Does he own Bitcoin? Is he Satoshi Nakamoto? If he is, he allegedly would have died a very, very wealthy man. But thank you so much for your time today. I look forward to bringing you up an update maybe over the weekend, some point in the near future. I do enjoy trying to share this information. Thank you so much for all the support and, you know, the beautiful comments that I received and personal messages. I really, really appreciate it. I didn't expect to get that kind of response from a first video. So thank you so much. It really means a lot. And if you could just like, subscribe, and maybe give us a share, you know, we can sort of get this attention information out to more people. But thank you so much. Have yourself a good day. I look forward to seeing you soon.